Hey, Power Crew. Happy Weird Watts Wednesday. Rumor has it Nichol Kessinger might have met Shanann Watts before Chris through Thrive. There's a Thanksgiving live where someone rumored to be NK herself is caught making faces and dropping mean emojis. And now a recent Chris Watts pen pal is backing it up, claiming NK met Shanann first. Let's talk about what that could mean for the timeline. Stick around. I'm rolling credits while the rest of the Power Crew drifts in. I'm Amy, and this is the Power Network. Shout out to my replay crew and my dragonfly. Love you, babies.
Cavalier's drumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our past. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
Here in the essence of gratitude, it's good to be back here on a Weird Watts Wednesday with all of you. I am trying out the new vertical format, so please be sure to let me know if you like it, if you don't like it. I am all open ears to hear how you're feeling. Good morning, Mally. Happy Weird Watts Wednesday. So today I wanted to talk about something that's been rolling around in my mind about the Watts case lately. We were over in another creator's watching one of their lives, and it was a replay. And in the replay, I was watching the chat as well. And in the chat, a woman came in and started talking about Chris Watts and being one of his pen pals. And so I can't even tell you what the live was about, or because I immediately focused in on the chat. And we did a live on it recently and talked about what she dropped, the bombshells that she dropped. And in one of them, somebody asked, well, here, let me get it up on the screen and we'll go from there. Here we go. So I was doing a live with Lindsay from the Linzer Show, and I don't know who that is, cool guys, so it's okay if they are talking I didn't push an old lady, so I don't know what you're talking about. Perhaps you're talking about another person. But anyway, Lindsay was with me and we were talking about Chris Watts, and I had been we were talking. I don't know, cool guy. I don't even know who I don't know who High Road Time Space is. I don't even know who that is. So I really don't even know what you're talking about. And if they are talking mad shit about me, then I mean, how could I possibly stop them from talking mad shit about me? And I kind of think maybe you got the wrong person, or you're trolling me. So either way, let them talk mad shit. You don't know who he is either. He was saying I pushed an old lady because of a parking spot at Walmart. Well, I don't even drive right now, so when could this have happened? The last time I was at Walmart personally was probably over 6 months ago. So I don't know what you're talking about. All right, let me regain my center here and go back into the Watts space. So we were doing a live with Lindsay from the Linzer show, and we started talking. I was talking to her about what I had seen, and I want to show you some of the live that we did. And I do show some of the, this is Heather. This, I show some of the screen clips of the live. So let's take a quick peek at that. These are the cuts that I made from the chat that I just saw you. So Heather started talking in chat and she said, yes, I write with him. I do too. Thank you, cool guy. I will check it out a little bit later and see what you're talking about, but I just started the live. I literally can't do anything about it. I didn't push anybody, so I'm not really worried about it either. They can say these things about me, but I mean, my life is pretty pathetic right now. So I'm not driving. I'm not out pushing old ladies at Walmart. So what can you do? I don't know what she was talking about. I do too. She's very scary. I think she's talking about Cindy. And then people started noticing this. And so then the questions started. And so Sprinkled Donut said, Heather, is he really getting married? And I was like on pins and needles when I saw that, because we just reported the other day when we did a live that there was this wedding scandal where Chris Watts is reported to
what
is acting. Hold on, I need to take this down. Is saying that he wanted to get married, and he wanted to get married to this woman named Lizzie Lee. And it had been reported that she had been visiting with Chris Watts, and we had talked about it. And you know what's really weird is I talk about post-traumatic stress from time to time, and that, yeah, I have it. And I reported on this Lizzie Lee stuff like over a year and a half. I still think that's crazy that I reported on it and I completely didn't remember about any of it, because of the post-traumatic stress that I deal with on a daily basis. I think my autoimmunes come from the post-traumatic stress that I have, or stems from it. But let's pop it forward. So Lizzie Lee is the woman that is reported to have moved to Wisconsin and wants to marry Chris Watts. It was reported during that live too, in the comments by by Heather, that Amy is a friend of Lindsay that knew Shanann, that we're working on getting on the show. But Heather is the pen pal, and they were talking about, you know, what kind of person he was, and also talking a lot about Cindy Watts, and how Chris had some religious ideations as a child, and they thought that it perhaps stemmed from Cindy. But and then they asked if he was really getting married, and Heather said no, he's not. It was denied. So here he would talk about, he had quite a bit to say about her. He doesn't say anything horrible, but he does say if not for her, none of this would happen. And he's talking about the mistress. And Chris grew up very confused and scared about God and religion. He said he would cry himself to sleep while praying because he thought he might do something bad. And then let me move it forward. Hold on. Then they asked if this person said, I don't know how to ask this, but does he seem nice? Not nice, polite, rude, remorseful, not curious what's his true personality is. And then I think she was replying back to when they were talking about his childhood, and they were talking about how scared Chris was as a child. But can you imagine how scared his girls were that night that he did what he did? But Heather said he's a very calm, polite, he's very smart, which surprised me due to just watching him first, seeing him on TV, which, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. He seems like he has the calm, polite act down pat. And that she says he's terrified of people being let down by him, which is a big reason for not wanting to go to trial. He couldn't stand for people to be there talking about all of this in his presence. And I've always said this, I don't think Chris could stand to have his parents know about his bad deeds. You know what I mean? I don't think that he could handle such things. And here it's being confirmed by Heather. And if you believe Heather, I don't know, like, you have to take it for a grain of salt about Heather, because we don't exactly know who Heather is. She says she's a pen pal, and we have had other Chris Watts pen pals on here, and they were legit, and they were religious pen pals. So I know there's a difference between religious pen pals and pen pals. Like, the religious pen pals feel like God is sending them to him to give them the word of God. Like, I know when Angie came on, she said that she felt like once she had given the word, the message that she needed to give, then she stopped being his pen pal. Like, she backed out and was like, okay, message delivered. So I don't know if this is what Heather's doing as well. But here she goes on to talk about, they asked if they thought it was a mental break that happened with Chris, and Heather says, no, I don't think it was a mental break at all. He knew what he was going to do. Exactly. He said he knew what he was going to do, but he said the girls were never a part of it. So here it sounds like, again, he's talking about NK being involved in it. And Heather also goes on to talk about how that Chris actually says that Nichol Kessinger met Shanann first, and that she met Shanann through Thrive. So I thought we would take a look at that to see. We have seen things, we have seen other creators talk about the possibility that, hold on a second, you guys. I got to get the bird situated. I'm having a rough morning with him, and hold on one second.
What happens when the footage speaks in a
to the breeze. The moon is shining down just for me. I talk madly to the stars, and they swing down and dance with me. And it's the perfect night for dreaming and make believing and make believing.
Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I'm having a rough morning all around. The baby bird is woke up at 4:30. My anxiety is really high. So anyway, getting back to this. Okay, so Chris Watts was has a new pen pal, and she was saying that Shanann Watts and Nichol Kessinger, they both met each other first before Nichol even met Chris. And we have proof that this happened because we have in this live video that Shanann was doing, we have her making cookies and somebody is making faces.
It's no fun. Like, I love baking, but I like doing it with someone. So I'm going live because I've already started. One is in the oven. I'm making the second one right now.
And I thought it would be fun. I rarely show any Zawoki. I thought it would be fun to show a little bit of him going over this live. What we do here is we like to do like a mixed media type of thing. We'll show bits and pieces to pull a story together. We don't show everything in its entirety usually, or anything I read, I stop and start and talk over it. But what I do for fair play use and to cite our sources, I will put everything that we view today over in the YouTube show notes. Today we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So hi, everyone. If you could just give us love on the platform that you're viewing us on, that would help us out tremendously. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, I'm dealing with the baby bird today. He bit me before we went live, and I had to put him in the cage, and he woke up at 4:30, and it's just, it's been, when my anxiety gets higher, his anxiety gets higher. So I have to learn to manage myself so I can manage the bird. I swear, having a bird, it's like having a 3 or 5-year-old. It's crazy. So let's take a quick peek at Zawoki and see what he has to say.
I'm guessing audio was removed due to copyright purposes or just for respect.
Wait a minute. He's watching something without audio?
So she's obviously, it's bothering her, so she's kind of. So she comes back. What's the means faces for?
Why is he watching it without audio?
And you can't tell who gives the mean faces to you. They just see it's bothering her, so she's kind of. She goes, "That's odd." I saw that. So I'm obviously, again, they're probably removing the audio due to respectful purposes and just to keep it respectful.
So why don't you go and find it's all right, let's go back and let's scrap that idea and let's pop back here and just watch the video ourselves.
Hold on, I'll look at the directions real quick. Condensed milk. Hey, Mom. I'm making the cannoli poke cake right now. I've already made the mini cannoli filling. It's in the refrigerator.
I enjoy watching her cooking videos, and I like watching Sandy's too.
To bake the little pies that it's going in. They're really, really cute. And I forgot what I'm coming here for. And then I'm going to make, all right, I just want to tell you guys, I'm going to make pumpkin cheesecake bars. Pumpkin cheesecake bars and pumpkin spice muffins for the kiddos. Aw, you're so sweet, Kendall.
Do people still say kiddos? That started getting on my nerves.
Mama taught me how to cook.
Trend. The kiddos.
I'm pretty good at reading directions too. But Mama taught me how to cook. So let's see. Kendall, are you seriously coming over? Need to reserve half that. Hey, Todd. Combined ricotta cheese.
It's creepy to think that, and we all know women. I've talked to other women creators on here, and if you start dating a man, one of the first things you do is you go to the internet and you see his past life. You know for sure.
Tradition for Turkey Day.
Maybe it was silenced because there was music playing in the background. I'm still like wrapped up like he watched a video that was on silent to try to find the part where she talks about where the faces are. That's just
not necessarily. My mom, traditional desserts I don't like. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't like apple pie. I don't like cherry pie. I don't like pecan pie, or however you say pecan. So it's not traditional. It is traditional for Christmas to make Italian food. So kind of starting my own little tradition, because I'll make pumpkin stuff. Like I'm making pumpkin cheesecake, but that's for Chris and everyone else, not for me. This would be for me. The girls, Bella likes pumpkin pie. I just don't. I'm not a pumpkin pie. I don't like pies. I know, I'm an oddball. I'm weird, but it's okay. So I'm just not a pie person. Hey, Lane. I like chocolate pie, but again, a little different. Oh, this looks so good. Can you guys hear my music? I hope it's not too loud. It's kind of like my thing. So no, tradition is the tradition. My mom makes pumpkin pie, apple pie, cherry pie for my dad.
okay. So in this video, she talks about why the faces. She's going to have fish oil in it. You liked when he was tasting the protein bars. Those were kind of boring to me, those things, but those were just ad things. They're interesting to me, and watching them in hindsight because examining the case. But did she really put fish oil and stuff? I know that I throw in collagen here and there and stuff where I can. Like I put collagen in my coffee every morning, and it has some stuff that's supposed to help with my joints and stuff. And I do notice that when I don't take it, my joints feel a little rougher than normal. But so let's keep going. over here, the Denver Post article. It's her. Do I have to? Hold on. I got to disable my ad blocker. I know there's a way to get around all this stuff, but I haven't figured it out yet. Here she talks about it's horrific. Chris Watts' girlfriend speaks out for the first time at sentencing, and Frederick murders draw near. And in it, she talked about how she had just known Chris. She had just met him recently. They knew each other. They met like in the spring. And I always question that. And over on Reddit, they are talking about it, and here someone says, Nicole Googled Shanann and Chris. Just watched a Facebook video of a true crime blogger who said that when police searched Nicole's computer, they found Google searches for Shanann and Chris way before Nicole and Chris were in a relationship. Has anyone heard this before? And there was huge debate and conversations about that. This person says it's either a typo or a massive coincidence. I think one of them was reportedly a typo because it happened twice. There were two searches. One of them was a reported typo and one was not. So a year before she reportedly met Chris, she's Googling both Chris and Shanann. The discovery noted that the data analysis recovered 3 deleted online searches for Chris and Shanann on Nichol Kessinger's phone months before she worked at Anadarko or claimed to have met Chris. In August 3rd, 2017 search for Chris, a September 1st, 2017 search for Shanann, and another search for Shanann on January 17th, 2018. The evidence of those searches contradicts Kessinger's statements to investigators. I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. When she alleged to have first interacted with Chris, which she claimed was either in May or June 2018, she even managed to spell Shanann's unusual name correctly in both searches. Isn't that strange? The Frederick PD records supervisor, Amanda Purcell, said that the September 2017 search for Shanann was a typographical error in the report, but didn't state specifically what the nature of the typographical error was, and referred the matter back to the district attorney, Michael Rourke. It's a follow-up. DA Michael Rourke stated that the September 2017 search was not a typographical error, but data that came from Kessinger's phone, that due to Chris's guilty plea, he didn't have an answer for the anomaly in Kessinger's phone data, but that he had no belief that anyone else was involved in the crime and had no reason to investigate Kessinger. Although that's not what he's saying now. Because the investigators never asked Kessinger about these online searches, which is so strange. It's unknown why the Wattses were on her radar months prior to when she alleged that she first met Chris. What do you guys think? They're talking about it again over on another thread. This one says Nichol Kessinger searched their names years before. So I'm watching Chris Watts' Family Murders on Crime A to Z on YouTube. And it said that Nicole searched up both of their names online before she even met Chris or started working for the oil company. Huh? Does anyone know about this? Why would she do that? How would she even know their names to search? And why wasn't she held accountable for deleting all of her correspondences with Chris and all of her provable lies? Something's kind of weird here. And what's even more weird is that our little Nichol Kessinger tried to pretend like she had never heard of Thrive before. You take it for your joints? Yeah. Fish oil is supposed to be really good for your joints. I just get the burp. So I guess like if you found a way to mix it in your food, that's pretty good. But I don't know. Will cooking destroy it? I don't know. I'm kind of achy these days. My autoimmunes have been wreaking havoc, so I haven't been feeling good. And so I really wish I could get my autoimmunes under control. It's very strange with Nicole's cyber stalking. Very strange that she's not held accountable for anything. The interviews with Nichol are complete jokes. Yeah, I added the complete, but yes, total and complete jokes. I remember quite well that these searches were not typos. Yeah, I think one of them was, and then obviously the other two weren't. Yeah, I have heard that they met in a gym too. I had heard that because the Rucheks were staying in the basement, and that's where Chris's equipment was, that they met at a gym, or it was speculated. It was also speculated they could have met at when Shanann was working at the hospital, because the hospital had this fitness thing that in one of Nicole's posts, she had posted this fitness challenge that Shanann was also a part of at her hospital. So it was speculated that possibly they had met through that, which, I mean, they could have like ran into each other multiple times, because when we had Nicole Atkinson on, she said that Fredericks is a very small town. Like everybody kind of knows each other. And even I know people that know Amanda, who said that she had the affair, and they knew that Amanda also worked with Nicole Atkinson and Sandy. So, and they worked with them. And, so, I mean, it's just a very small town, and everybody kind of knew everybody. And it doesn't surprise me that worlds are overlapping here. It doesn't surprise me at all. But I would just love to get down to the bottom of it and know once and for all about this Nichol Kessinger. But here over Nichol Kessinger is trying to pretend this interview. She's trying to pretend like she doesn't even know what Thrive is. So I thought we'd take a quick read on this. And so here the detective says, yes, you want to start with that. So did you write some things down? And she says, I did. And he says, okay. And so she says, so they're kind of out of order. They're kind of just they came to my head. And he says, sure. And then she says, so we'll go over them in order that I wrote them down. And it's so weird that she could remember all of this, but she can't remember that long, over an hour conversation. I think, was it 111 minutes or so conversation the night of the Schmurders, night after the Schmurders? No, the night of the Schmurders. So we'll go over them in that order that I wrote them down. And he says, that's fine. So then she says, so I was thinking about the whole, what is the name of that stuff she sold for Lavelle? Thrive. And he says I'm sorry. And she goes, Thrive. And Thrive, that's right. Or he goes, Thrive. And she goes, Thrive, that's right. I was like, it starts with a T and I'm drawing a blank. So I started thinking about this whole Thrive thing, because I remember that we spoke at the end of last week, and you're asking what I thought of it. And I made it clear that I didn't understand it. And the reason I had a hard time understanding it was because I didn't understand how people who were living sedentary lifestyles, had poor diets, were losing so much weight on this. on the program, and Chris was never able to tell me what was in it. Like he not always, but when he first met, he was like, you should try the stuff. So, okay, let's just stop it right there. So did she try to make him think that she didn't know about Thrive too? And if it's true what this Heather is saying, and Heather was reportedly going to have an interview with Kelly from What's the Obsession the following Tuesday, and that never happened, but she did come into my comments and mention that she was getting a lot of hate email from people for making those comments, and which I felt so bad for her. And she said apparently she had put her real email in the chat, and so people were taking it upon them to email her and sending her threat and hate, which is so ridiculous. I can't stand what's become of this case, why people can't just discuss it on their own and not have other people jump all over them, and just like what happened to being able to have discussions. I don't even know. But so they were bullying her. I asked if she had, because she was supposed to talk to Chris that Sunday and see if Chris was okay with her going on the show and talking about these things. And so I said, did you talk to Chris on Sunday? And she said, yes. That's all she said, yes. But then when I went back to screenshot the comments, they had been deleted in my comments. So I don't know if more people were bullying or what. I don't know what happened, but that all got deleted. But this penpal is saying that Shanann and Nichol met first, and they met through Thrive. And here she's trying to say that she's approaching Chris like, what's in it? And trying to act like she can't even say the word Thrive. What's up with that? He said, you should try this stuff. You should try this stuff. And I never wanted to. I was uncomfortable with it because I didn't know what it was. And even had looked on their website and still didn't completely understand it. And so I just kind of, did she look on Shanann's personal website? Because I know each of those people get their own little website. So did she go to Shanann and Chris's personal website to look it up? I stayed away from that. And not only that, I mean, he told me, the only thing he pretty much told me is it gives you energy, and it's like a weight loss supplement. And I'm not trying to lose any weight. Like, I don't need that. And I don't feel like I needed the energy either. So he never pushed it again. And I never, like, he always swore the Thrive patches, and I never questioned it. It was like what he did. But one thing I do remember him mentioning to me when he first tried to introduce me to Thrive was that you needed one patch a day. And when he would hang up with me, he always wore two. And the detective's like, okay. And I don't know if he's just like, and the detective says, do you remember where he doubling up or where he wore them? And she says, yeah. So he would usually wear one on like his left bicep area. And then sometimes he would wear another one on the right side of the same spot, or he would wear it on his like lower back. And the detective says, okay. And she says, but he always had two. And I remember thinking, like, I thought you only needed one of these. Why are you wearing two? And I never questioned it, because for me, I mean, like, I never questioned him about it, because to me, I just felt like since I wasn't involved with the program and I didn't want to be involved, it was really my position to question him. And the detective says, sure. She's a word salader, isn't she? And now I know that there's also supplements that go with it. There's like a pill and like a morning shake, and there's like a lot of stuff that goes with it. But there's like a daily routing of like 3 or 4 items that you are supposed to take. Now, was he doubling up those items? I am not sure. I do not know that. And he says, do you know, was he following the complete routine? And she says, as far as I know, he was following it. And he had told me that is why he lost a bunch of weight. He said that the reason he lost so much weight was all because of Thrive. And then he said at some point a few months ago, he had started getting stagnant with the weight loss. And so that is when he decided that he was going to start working out again. And that's when he decided he wanted to start eating healthy. And that's when he met me, supposedly. As well, because he was realizing that he'd like plateaued and he still wanted to continue with his fitness. But I think like he was realizing like maybe a diet, like a healthy diet and exercise is what I need at this point. So that was the avenue that he was starting to go down. And he's been going down. By the time I met him, he was still doing Thrive on top of it. And the detective says, okay. And she goes on to say, so the thing that caught my attention about this recently when I was thinking about it is the fact that I think maybe the reason he was doing the 2 a day, and that is just speculation, is because he had like plateaued. So maybe he was doubling up because he thought he had plateaued or he was addicted. I really think you can become addicted on herbal medications. I really do. I can't take whatever's in that medication because I have such bad anxiety that it increases my anxiety and it makes me feel like I want to jump out of my skin. I can't imagine doubling up on it. Can you? And what that, like, I just really think, I know I get poo-pooed a lot about it, and it's usually by people that sell Thrive or use Thrive. But I'm guessing that you're not doubling and tripling up on doing what Chris Watts was doing on top of whatever substances he was doing and not sleeping. And I think it was just a perfect storm of stuff. And I don't discount the Thrive patches for one moment in this scenario. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, agree. They have a lot of caffeine, I bet. Yeah, they have caffeine and they have this I never say it right, so I should learn to say it right, but it's guarana seed extract or something like that. And it's in a lot of diet weight loss stuff. And I think it has green tea in it too. I don't know. We went over it. We had Cowboy RC. He's an ex-prison sergeant and he's a fitness instructor, and we went over the Thrive patches. I'll try to remember to put the link for that live somewhere in the show notes somewhere if you're interested. We did go over what was in there. Herbals don't do anything to you. I mean, I guess you're lucky in a way and maybe not lucky in another way, because then why take them? But yeah. Oh yeah, he had to check his yes. What would he do without her checking his macros? Watts the Obsession used to say that nobody knew what was in Thrive. Did it have, yeah, it does do that blend where they can put as much or as little, that herbal blend type of thing, where it's a way for companies not to have to list the potency of the ingredients. But I don't know if they do that. I would have to take a look at their ingredient list again. I don't remember it off the top of my head, and I'm really distracted today. So things aren't just coming into my head like they normally do on this case. You don't understand how the patches work. Well, it's a dermal system where it's supposed to go through your skin, which, I mean, it obviously works. Because I used to, when I had back surgery, well, first I had some pulmonary embolisms, then I had back surgery, and then I had a stroke, and I was having pain issues, and I was also getting those shots in my back. So they finally just put me on the F patch. I'm not going to say the word, but it's the F patch, the stuff but it was prescribed, and I would have breakthrough pain, and they put me on the M word, for breakthrough pain. I'm all off of that stuff now. I weaned myself all. I was on it for 2 years, but I remember that it was a patch system for the F patch. It came right through my body, and I had to wear a dermal patch over it. So because I've got really oily skin, but also I know that people that have kids have to do that so that the medicine won't touch the kids. So I just wonder, like, where was the medicine from the patches touching the kids? I mean, because that was a real worry for me. I wasn't worried about kids. I was worried about my dog. I was really worried that, I didn't want it to touch my dog. So that's another thing. Hi, LK. Actually, I haven't been saying hi to any of you guys. So let me just take a moment to say hi to everybody in chat. Hi, everybody in chat. Hi, Buckeye Girl. Hi, Anders Gustafin. I just love that name. It's such a strong, powerful name. Jessica Eversole. Hello. I've already said hi to Melly, but I'm going to say hi to you again. Hi, Melly. Hi, Mom Chill M. I don't know if I've ever seen you here before, so welcome here. You like my red hair? Yeah. I got a lot of, I wear wigs a lot now too, but that was actually red hair. And when I had my hair that color, I always got asked if it was my real hair color. There has to be a reason you Googled 2 people you don't know a year before you supposedly met one of them. There has to be. Absolutely has to be. Thank you. Yeah, it does look a little boring, doesn't it? It's very soccer mom kind of vibe, if you're into that. If you're into play dates and that kind of stuff. But it also looked very family friendly, because I followed Nicole Atkinson after that, and I would see her doing things. She lives in Tennessee now, but I would see her doing fun things with the kids. It seemed like there was always something to do. Yeah, boring macros and the lazy dog, and then going to your apartment and having lots of intercourse and going to nude camping. And car shows don't sound like, I like going to car shows, so that sounded like a fun date. And I like camping too, but not nude camping. I mean, in fact, I love camping. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I would be a mess going down the sand thing. Like, I would do it, but I'd probably break my face off doing it. But yeah. I mean, I'm an outdoorsy person. I like being outdoors. But and I like concerts. So maybe it's not a bad place to live. I don't know. But I do remember, and I know that Rose Z lives in Colorado, not in Fredericks, but she is, if I get any footage of the Watts house, it's usually from her that I get it from. And she says it's a very closed community. I mean, because even Rose Z knew some of these people in this case. So, so getting back here, she goes back and she says, so the thing that caught my attention about this recently when I was thinking about it is the fact that I think maybe the reason he was doing the 2 a day, and this is just speculation, is because it had like plateaued. So maybe he was doubling up because he thought I had plateaued. Because he thought it had plateaued. So the reason this comes to my attention is because of this weight loss. So he lost 13 pounds in about 5 weeks. In fact, I can give you the dates. Also, could it be that they were doing substances together? Because that is a quick weight loss. In fact, I can give you the dates. He lost 13 pounds from July 4th to August 11th. But also, you do tend to lose weight when I went through my divorce, I lost weight, but he wasn't going through a divorce quite yet. So take that off the table. Never mind. In fact, I can give you the dates. He lost 13 pounds from July 4th to August 11th. I mean, a normal person loses weight during a divorce because they're so stressed out. So this person was losing weight because he was doing all these substances. He had met this woman who was counting his macros. And in fact, I can give you the dates. He lost 13 pounds from July 14th to August 11th is how much weight he lost because August 4th, I mean, July 4th was the day that I went to his house and sat down with him and asked him. That's when she ate the carrots on the wet carpet with the wet bum. How much do you weigh? And he asked me, can you just like look at my macros and see how much protein people my size would usually eat and all? And just asked me to like glance at it. So that's why I went over. That's why I went over was to kind of like help him. And the detective says, when you say his house, that's the house in Frederick that he, and she says, yes. And he says, Shanann. And she says, yes, that's, and he says, okay. And she goes, one that I told you guys I went to. And he says, right. And she says, on the 4th. And that was why I went there, was to sit. Okay, Junie, do you want to go in the other room, baby? To sit down with him that morning on the 4th of just discuss his goals. And, you know, and again, I'm not a fitness trainer. So he already had in mind, he was just asking me like, can you just glance at this and tell me what you think since you pay attention? And he goes, right. And she says, close attention to these things. So anyways, I was going to ask you, I think I already asked you and we discussed this one, but July 4th was the first time you went to the house. And she goes, and I think, and then she says, yes. You said like the following Monday or Sunday was the final time you'd been into his home. And she goes, I have to, it was Saturday. And I'll have to look it up. It was either hold on. Let me pull up my calendar. I really want to, like, that's July. So the 4th. And then when the weekend, and I think, and I will double check this, but I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact I was in the house on July 4th. So how does she know for a fact these things, but can't remember that conversation? It just pisses me off. And I think the second time I went to his house was Saturday the 14th. And okay, and those are, if I remember right, you only had been there 2 times, right? And he says, yeah, like I didn't want to go back after the second time that I was there. It's just like, I don't want to be in that house. Like if you want to hang out, come to my house. So yeah, so the 14th was the last time I was there. So she's sitting there lying like a rug, talking that she didn't even know what Thrive was. She couldn't even remember how to say the name Thrive. Over on Oxygen, they were talking about what is Thrive, the weight loss supplement Shanann Watts sold that Chris Watts became obsessed with. There was one comment in Chris Watts' life that seemed to inspire complete devotion. The confessed killer was a regular, perhaps even obsessed user of Thrive, a weight loss supplement that promised to help boost energy and increase overall health through patches, pills, and shakes. He was likely introduced to the regimen through wife Shanann, who worked as a promoter and advertiser for the marketing company Laval, which makes the product. She can be seen on online videos and posts raving about it in an effort to recruit new users. Documents released by the Weld County District Attorney's Office days after Watts was sentenced to life for smothering daughters Bella 4 and Celeste 3 before strangling Shanann revealed just how into Thrive the couple had become. Prior to Shanann starting with Thrive, she and Chris struggled some financially, Police wrote in the documents referencing comments made by a friend of the couple, but once she started selling Thrive, her friend said she was making between $65,000 to $70,000 a year, and that she had signed up approximately 200 people. Friend said she won several vacations through the company, which also paid for her Lexus. In comments his mistress, Nichol Kessinger, made to police, it seems Watts was an enthusiastic devotee. I asked Nichol if Chris used any steroids or narcotics, one investigator wrote. She said she did not know. She referenced Chris always using Thrive and said he always had 2 patches stuck to him at all times. She told police he typically wore the patches on his left and right bicep and tricep and on his lower back, something the product makers might even describe as overkill, as they recommend wearing only 1 patch a day. Kessinger said he used the company's shakes, pills, and supplements on a daily basis. Kessinger said Watts lost 13 pounds between July 4th and August 11th. Thrive claims to be packed with over 100 premium grade vitamins, minerals, plant extracts, digestive enzymes, probiotics, antioxidants, protein, fiber, and more, as bolsters energy and eases aches. But it's important to note, as the Wall Street Journal does, that claims in relation to patches and weight loss are hard to prove. In fact, the Federal Trade Commission suggests consumers be skeptical of such products. Whether it's a pill, patch, or cream, there's no shortage of ads promising quick and easy weight loss without diet or exercise, but the claims just aren't true, and some of these products could even hurt your health. The best way to lose weight is to eat fewer calories and eat more exercise. So I found this person put the shovel down, talking about, did Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger have a substance addiction, and what about the Thrive patches? So I want to take a quick look at that. That 111-minute phone call would tell us all the answers. Yeah, if only. That's excessive weight loss for a man. That's fast weight loss for a man. And so I do believe that there were other substances at play. He did mention there have been rumors. There's rumors that float around the Watts community. And I've heard this rumor said that she was giving Chris some kind of drink. And in one of his interrogations, he did mention that she would make a tea for him. So what was in the tea? A Thrive addiction. Only Chris Watts gets a Thrive addiction. What a loser. Yeah, Dieter led her upstairs. Yes. I always envision poor little Dieter leading that trollop, the sexy empanada around the house so that she can put books and crystals under beds and muse at what a beautiful life Shanann Watts had. I remember NK saying she went to help him. I think she wanted to see his other life. Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, it's ballsy going into another woman's house. That's really ballsy. But we all know she had balls. Lord, she's a joke. She knew about that. She knew about the 111-minute phone call for sure. Whatever it was, it kept him awake for hours. He was probably delusional. Yeah. I mean, I get crazy when I don't sleep. And it was going on for weeks. Weeks he wasn't sleeping. Weeks he was doing this. I always thought that there was no possible way that, I think they met before May, but only a few months before May. I don't think it was that fast, but I do think she was stalking him before he was aware of her. I'm actually positive of that. So let's take a quick look at this video, guys. If you could do me a huge favor and check to see if you are subscribed. I checked the other day and half of you aren't subscribed that are watching. So I would love to have you as a power subscriber. So just, click that subscribe button and do me a solid. If you don't like it here, you can just unclick it and be on your way. It's just that easy, but I think you're going to like it.
What role did drug addiction play in the Chris Watts murder? Was Chris Watts on drugs? Was Nichol Kessinger on drugs? Did she get him on drugs? That's what we're going to cover in this video. We've had so many requests to weigh in on this topic. It's time to examine the subject. We're going to take a look at the evidence. And not only are we going to look at what role drugs played in this case, but we're also going to take a look at the Thrive patches and examine whether or not that had any impact on what happened to the Watts family.
Let's pop it forward. I will put the links to everything we view down in the YouTube show notes.
Really feel like that was the primary motivation about the infatuation stage, the stage that's called limerence, and how that is really an addicted state of mind. And in that video, I told you how I really feel like that was the primary motivation behind the terrible events that happened to this family and destroyed so many lives. But as a result of that,
Yeah, I think they were doing substances at the NK layer, and yeah. I wish they had done a drug test on Chris when they arrested him, but they didn't.
Video, I had so many questions from you guys about the possibility of an actual drug addiction. Did that play a role in this situation? And then I had a lot of questions also about the Thrive patches. Was that an addiction? Did it contribute anyway? Let's dissect the situation one thing at a time.
I seriously don't think I can nail home hard enough how dangerous I think guarana seed extract is, because it makes me want to jump out of my skin, and I cannot imagine doubling up on it, tripling up on it, and doing it for a sustained amount of time. And then not sleeping, whatever other substances he was doing, because we know he was trying to poison Shanann with some narcotics. And so he was getting the narcotics, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think he got the narcotics through Amanda. And I've said this over and over again. This is all my opinion, my research. I urge you guys to go out there and do your own. If you have a different opinion, you're completely welcome to be here. I'm not going to poo-poo you and make fun of you or call you a horrible person because you believe one thing opposed to what I believe. In fact, I enjoy having conversations with people about these things. But I really think the Thrive patches were dangerous, and they're more dangerous. Some people, like somebody in chat just said they did. Anders said it doesn't do anything to them, but for me, it makes me crazy. So, and then I can't even imagine taking multiple, about like tripling up on it. And I don't think he was just doubling up on it. I think he was tripling up on it, because I don't think his body ever got a moment's rest without putting that whatever was in the Thrive patch through his skin. He never got a moment's rest, and it's not an excuse. Well, it's unforgivable what he did. So I don't want anyone to think that I've like suddenly gone soft on Chris, because I haven't. I think he's the biggest loser on the planet. But I would like to, at one point in my life, figure out why, right? Why? And with my background being a degree in psychology, so sociology, psychology, Soc was my major, psych was my minor. And I just want to know. The human brain fascinates me, and I think this was a perfect storm. And I would just, and I know that you guys are the same way, or you wouldn't be here. You just want to know why, right?
Now, before I go much further, I've never met any of these people. I can never tell you 100% sure about any of these things. But based on the knowledge that I have, I'm going to give you my professional opinion about what I think happened here in regards to the drug speculation. Okay, let's go. 3 really prevalent theories out there. One, people seem to think that maybe there was a problem with pain pills. In the investigation, it came out that Chris Watts had attempted to give his wife some kind of pain pills, oxys, I think, in order to try and cause her to lose the pregnancy. Now, I think that one.
Hey, what do you guys think about this vertical format? Nobody said anything. No one said they don't like it. So how are you feeling about this vertical format, just out of curiosity?
One little piece of information is probably where the most of this thought process about was there a drug problem going on. And the big thing that really seems to trigger people up is because Chris Watts said that he would never tell where he got those drugs from. And everyone seems to be speculating that he must have gotten them from Nichol Kessinger. Now, listen, I don't know where he got them. You don't know where he got them. We don't know where he got them. But what I will say is that everyone seems to jump to a very fast conclusion that it must have come from Nichol Kessinger. Hey, maybe it did, but there's really no evidence to that. And you've got to admit that we are jumping to that conclusion. Now, I know anytime I talk about the situation, especially with Nichol Kessinger, people get all up in arms because everybody wants her to be the worst, most heinous villain. Hey, maybe she was, but we're going to use only the evidence that we actually have to look at. We're going to try to remain objective here. He could have got that from his sister or his father or any other place that you can think of. It doesn't necessarily mean it had to come from Nichol Kessinger. Okay, so besides this whole issue,
I don't think it necessarily did come from Nichol Kessinger. I really don't. Like, she's on the bottom of my suspect list when it comes to where it came from. Thank you, LK. That's really sweet. The community can get a little crazy sometimes. And if I don't like somebody, I just don't talk about them. And I just, out of sight, out of mind for me. So.
Where did it come from? Let's take a look at whether or not it's possible that he could have had a pain pill problem. Well, of course, that is entirely possible. And the main reason I say that is because of all the theories out here about the different drugs. Pain pill addiction is the absolute easiest to hide. And when people are addicted to pain pills, it's really hard to tell, especially in the early stages when someone's addicted to pain pills. They don't look intoxicated. They don't slur their words. They don't smell funny. They don't really even act funny. In fact, when people are addicted to pain pills, a lot of times for the first few years, they'll be better functioning.
Actually, that is true. I worked at a substance abuse facility. I was the intake coordinator and the women's case manager. And it actually presents as they're more energetic, they're happier, things are better for a period because they've finally found a release to the pain and the suffering, whether it was mental or physical. It relieves that for a time, but it always turns on you. Although I'm not anti pain pills, because I hate what's happened to people that actually need pain pills. It's gotten really hard for them to take them. In fact, that's one of my drives to no longer take pain pills. Was I hated the feeling of what I was I was prescribed them. I was prescribed them, and I was still made to feel like an addict. And I just couldn't take it. And it was coming from the pharmacy. It was coming from the doctors. It was coming from people. Even when I started talking about, like, I was no longer on these substances, I had left out the fact that they were prescribed. So now I hammer the fact that they were prescribed because people thought, that I was like just taking them, which, I mean, that happens. But in the very beginning, for the people, it works really well. But for me, I was needing more and more of the substance to get rid of the pain. And so that's what happens, unfortunately, with pain pills.
They'll get Employee of the Month. Their grades will go up. And so I can't tell you how many times families come to our office and someone's had a pain pill addiction and the family's like, how did this go on so long? Usually for years before we even knew it. And it's because you really can't tell, especially in the earlier stages, because the signs and symptoms just do not look like other substances where you can kind of tell.
I had heard his sister recently, and this was just a rumor. I had heard his sister Why was it? Because she worked for a doctor or something like that. But it was just a rumor I heard.
Someone's intoxicated. You're just not going to get that at all. So is it possible that he could have had a problem with pain pills? Well, yeah, I guess I'll say that's possible. Is it possible that Nichol Kessinger had a problem with pain pills and influenced Chris Watts? Yes, I'd have to say that is entirely possible because, like I said, it's really hard to tell, especially with that particular addiction. Now, yes, I'm saying it's possible, but hang on there because I'm going to come back to it in just one second and tell you about whether or not I think it was likely that that's what was going on. But before I do that, let's take a look at the other theory that seems to be floating around out there. There's this other theory that maybe there was an addiction to some sort of stimulant medication. Mostly people are talking about like methamphetamines, otherwise known as meth, on the streets. Now, I did watch a video by the Armchair Detective, which was a great video, where he really zoomed in on some physical evidence that Nichol Kessinger could have had a problem with meth or some kind of stimulant addiction. The main thing from what I saw from that video that he really zoomed in on was that in those interrogation or interview, maybe we'll call it interview videos that they did with Nichol Kessinger, she had her hair pulled back in a ponytail, and you could see that her hairline looked a little bizarre. It was almost like there was a patch or two maybe that really looked like it was almost like a bald patch, like it should have had hair there, but it didn't. And then he looked at that interrogation video, and then he zoomed back in on some of the pictures that are out there that we've all seen about some of the dates they were on, and that you really couldn't see that hair loss. Well, part of the issue was in the investigation video, she had her hair in a ponytail. In some of the other videos, she did not. I did look to see that there are a couple of pictures back before the investigation where she had her hair in a ponytail. And it's really hard to tell whether those little spots were there before the interview or just were there after or during the interview. The other piece of evidence that he really zoomed in on, by he, I mean the Armchair Detective, was the fact that she seemed sort of shaky or twitchy or jittery, or she had these like fast movements, which can be an indicator of a stimulant abuse.
I know that they talked about those hair marks also possibly being like struggle marks from victims, possibly.
Problem. So can hair loss. But let's take a look at these pieces of evidence from an addiction lens. The first piece let's look at is the missing hair piece. Yes, stimulants or meth can cause hair loss, but typically when you see any kind of drug-induced hair loss, it's more like the thinning of hair. So someone's hair becomes progressively more and more thin. They just lose more and more hair. You don't really see that they lose a patch of hair in one spot. So I don't really view that spot. I don't know why it was there. I don't know if it was there before or after, but I don't necessarily view that as an indicator that there was some kind of meth problem going on. Now, as far as the other piece of evidence, the twitchiness, the jerkiness, it's really hard to tell because when you look at his video, you can tell it's cut and cropped a little bit. And she was fairly excitable in that interview. We're not going to go into dissecting all of that interview or what she lied about or she didn't. I have another video on that. But in an overall sense, what I'm going to say is I don't really think that's enough evidence to conclude that there is a...
I don't think it is either. Let's pop it forward and see what she has to say about the Thrive patches.
To this love affair that he was happening. Now, a lot of you from my last video have asked me questions, and most of you commented and you said that he was addicted to the intimacy. Let's just call it that. But I really don't think it was that kind of addiction either. Yes, was that a big part of the relationship? Was that part of what was driving the connection and the infatuation?
I never watched Armchair Detective, but I don't think anybody should have been deplatformed over this case. I think I'm a firm believer in free speech, and I'm really disappointed about the deplatformation and the people that rejoice in people losing their channel, because I can imagine it would be very upsetting.
Certainly it was, but I don't think that was the addiction. I think the relationship itself was the addiction. The reason I say that was because if it was just about the intimacy, he wouldn't have been so keen to get out of the relationship that he's in, because people that are addicted to that, it's really just about that. It's not about the connection. It's not about the attachment. It's about the physical act. And you can see with the Watts case, it was about a lot more than just the physical act. He felt whatever, that he was madly in love with her and could not live without her. And that's more than just the physical part. That is an addiction to the actual relationship. Like I said, it's that limerence infatuation state, which really puts us in an addicted state of mind. Now, am I saying that alone would cause someone to do what he did? Absolutely not. And like I said,
No, but I think that is another proof that it just was the perfect storm for Chris Watts. I don't think he ever quite felt the feelings that he felt when he was with Nichol. I think he felt some of those feelings with Shanann, but I think Chris was a bit of an incel growing up. And so he was a 30-year-old man experiencing high school feelings for the first time, and then doing all of the other stuff. Hi, Inside Out Boy. I think they're yeah, the pharmaceutical is it's just a nightmare right now. My pain issues were so bad that I was even referred to see a doctor to get a pain pump put in my back. I had tried to have a stimulator put in my spinal cord, and that failed miserably. And then they were looking at the pain pump, and I'm glad I didn't do that. But our pharmaceutical situation is a nightmare because people who are in severe pain aren't getting their pain meds because of the nightmare that we're in. And so I do worry about those people that actually need pain medication to have a life, because I lived at that space where I needed it. I needed it to have a life. Now I use herbal medications. I do the devil's lettuce, and I microdose, and I use that to manage my pain. And it's not great, but it's doable. Okay, guys, let me make sure I went through everything I wanted to do. Sorry, this has been such a bumpy live. The bird's been crazy. I'm a little crazy today. Yeah, I think I got it all. So the air is cooling, the moon hangs lower, and something wicked this way comes, but it's not your scent. Not this year, you guys, because Wild's got your back. Refillable, reusable, wickedly sustainable. While ghosts ride and ghouls gather, you'll stay hauntingly fresh with scents that last longer than your Halloween candy. Don't let BO chase you this season. Go Wild. And you can get 20% off your first order at shopwildrefill.com/ParaWomen with code ParaWomen. Thank you, Wild, for supporting us. I have been using them for a little bit over 2 months now, and I do enjoy their product. Shanann started using them, and she has reported back that she also enjoys using it. So let me know if you decide to give it a try. And thank you, Wild, for supporting us. And thank you guys for supporting us. And Junie, I would thank you for being a good boy, but you haven't been. You haven't been a good boy. What have you got to say for yourself? Huh? Yes, I love you, Junebug. Yes, I do. Yes. I still love you. But I might give you away for a day. You want to go stay with some of these people for a day? No? Well, you better be a good boy. Oh, yes? Does anyone want to take Junebug for a day? Does anyone need a Junebug for a day? He talks. He doesn't like going outside, but he likes to talk about the dog going outside. Huh? He likes to take showers. He likes to do tweet tweening. Yeah. That's just us putting on music and dancing around, by the way. That's what tweet tweening has become. Okay, well, let's do some tweet tweening then. Okay, guys, we're gonna go. We've got some tweet tweening. Let me know if you need a bird for a day, though. Really, really, he's a little green cheek cutie. For a day, I could let him go. I know we're gonna do some tweet tweening. Let me put the music on. Okay, guys. Yeah, I fostered a cat for a week and it scared me. I kept them separated, but I was just, I know some people do the cat bird thing, but I just can't. But I had a little Chihuahua and I lost her. It's been a year now. And he still talks about Maybelline. I think it's because when I was crying, I wanted to know that I was like, I would say I miss Maybelline. So he tells me he misses Maybelline all the time now, which is like a knife to the heart because I miss Maybelline too. But I did do the Chihuahua bird thing, and I think I might be ready for another little dog to come into my life. But yeah. Hey, this is just something very random that's been like sticking in my craw, but I like to watch weird things, and I was watching The Diary of a CEO, and this this doctor was saying that there is one animal that will eat a human after it dies, and it's cats. He said that like more than half the cats, like if a human passes away and like say an apartment with an animal, a cat will start eating you. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I was like, and he said even small dogs will do that. And I was like, ooh. He said big dogs don't usually do it. So I was like, I might rethink this little dog thing. I don't want, but I mean, I guess if I'm dead, what does it matter? But anyway, did you guys know that about animals? Yeah, they'll eat your face first. It's crazy. It's just been rolling around in my head now. Like, I don't want a cat. What if I'm not dead and it starts eating my face? But although, you know what? I've decided what I think it is that the human body must give off a certain smell and it becomes a little irresistible. So you wouldn't give off the smell if you weren't dead. So yeah. But anyway. Yeah, sorry guys. Got a little dark there. A little darker than my normal dark. Yes, you need to watch your cat. Don't die alone with them. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. I got a cutie that wants to do some tweet tweening. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, we're going to do it. I promise you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Nichol Kessinger met Shanann through Thrive? And do you think what do you think about this act of her not even being able to say the word thrive? How you say thrive? Oh God, I can't stand her. Anyway, guys, I love you. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a Dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my Dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the Dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's
Carefully strumming this old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. hearing the essence of gratitude. Your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but